Welcome back this morning. There has been a big change in leadership at the state capitol. This morning, we welcome the new Republican leader of the state Senate to CT 24. Senator Stephen Harding is joining us now to talk about a few issues, a few big issues. Senator, thank you very much for being here with us this morning.
Good morning. It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you first. There was obviously a big change. Senator Kevin Kelly resigned, and you found yourself in this position. Were you surprised by that?
It was surprising, but it was an amicable transition. Kevin and I are still talking, and we hope to have him as part of our leadership team, and I'll be taking his advice every step of the way. So it was an amicable transition, and Kevin and I both felt it was the right time. The caucus felt the same, too.
Well, you are a freshman senator, but you are certainly not new to the state capitol. You have a long history there.
Yes. So I have served 4 years in the House prior to my time in the Senate. It's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is utilizing my time in the House to be able to unify the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans, something Senator Kelly worked very hard on. It's an effort that I'm looking to advance on as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next because I noticed in your announcement, you said, as leader, I will make sure our caucus remains unified. Has it been as unified as you would like it to be? And how do you anticipate maybe making some changes going forward?
It has. The 12 caucus members are incredible senators. They're incredible advocates for their district. And we have remained unified. We're a great team. And if we are working in the same direction, which I believe we are, we can be very effective in this building, despite the fact that our numbers in the minority are where they are. I've seen firsthand under Senator Kelly's leadership ways in which we've been very effective despite the minority numbers that we have. I look forward to advancing on those efforts, and I believe that we're going to get some critical efforts passed this legislative session and oppose some measures which may be harmful to people of the state.
There's a couple things I'd like to ask you about, starting with these fiscal guardrails. You say nothing should change here. There's been some talk among the Democrats that they would like to kind of loosen that. Where do you stand, and why do you stand in that position?
100%. So that's one of the things that, frankly, I would see as very harmful to our economy. If those fiscal guardrails are stripped back, which many in the majority are looking to do, I think our economy's health would be in danger. The fiscal guardrails that I voted for in the House of Representatives that were implemented in the 2017 bipartisan budget is the reason why we have the $4 billion in reserves. It's the reason why we paid record payments towards our long-term debt obligations and our pension obligations. To strip those away now would be detrimental to our fiscal health, detrimental to our economy. We finally got our economy back on a stable footing here in the state of Connecticut. We're running budget surpluses as opposed to budget deficits, which we had previously run when I was in the House of Representatives. To go back to where we were 5 or 6 years ago economically, it just does not make any sense. And any in the majority that are pushing for this, I think, are being fiscally irresponsible. The Senate Republican caucus are going to be strong in this effort to maintain our fiscal guardrails. And I believe the governor agrees with us on this effort as well.
You know, and just so people understand, Senator, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, this kind of controls and limits spending in certain ways, right?
Absolutely right. This, not only does it control spending, it controls bonding. And even more important than that is the volatility cap. So certain revenues that come in over the estimated amount are automatically going to reserves and automatically going towards paying down long-term debt obligations. That's one of the biggest reasons why we've gotten to where we are economically, is that volatility cap, which is a critical piece of the fiscal guardrails as well.
Do you believe Connecticut's in a very good financial place right now?
I believe we're far better than where we were 5 or 6 years ago, as I mentioned. We can make further steps to make our government more efficient. I know our Senate Republican caucus strongly believes in that, and so we're always looking for efficiencies and being even more fiscally responsible than we are and putting ourselves, in our opinion, in a better economic state. But we are far better off economically today than we were 4 or 5 years ago.
All right, let's talk about paid leave. I know you've been pretty outspoken about this. So for companies right now with less than 50 employees, it's optional, but a proposal calls for all companies, regardless of size, to provide it. But you're calling that tone deaf, right?
It is. And frankly, you look at small businesses and you can categorize many small businesses in the state that are businesses with 50 employees or under. How crippling that would be to our small businesses. Small businesses are absolutely the engine that run the economy here in the state of Connecticut. I know so many throughout my district. I know all the senators in our caucus work hand in hand with the small businesses in their district. We have to be cognizant of these small business operations and what these mandates from Hartford ultimately will do to them. We believe that paid family leave is absolutely a noble cause. We can work in ways that our state of Connecticut can invest in that from a governmental perspective, but to mandate that type of payment on small businesses throughout the state is going to place an insurmountable cost on so many mom and pop operations throughout our state. It would also be extremely detrimental to the economic development of our state. We have to be cognizant and smart about the mandates that we place down from Hartford. Far too often, we don't realize what it does on small businesses. I know the Senate Republican caucus understands the needs of small businesses, and we hear from them every single day.
You had mentioned a moment ago about the large Democratic majority. Does it, obviously, I would assume it makes your job very challenging at times, but for people at home watching, I mean, is there reason to believe that compromise is actually something that could happen?
It happens every day at the Capitol. Oftentimes in the news channels and the Sunday shows, you'll hear about what we disagree on. There's certainly disagreements. But I can think of so many instances on so many different issues in my time at the Capitol over the past decade in which both the Republican and Democratic Party have come together and voted on bipartisan measures in huge numbers. That bipartisan budget that I just referenced in 2017 that, in my opinion, has led us to such economic prosperity, frankly, or fiscal responsibility as we sit here today, was done by Republicans and Democrats reaching across the aisle to get, in my opinion, good things done for the people of the state of Connecticut. So being in the minority does not mean that you cannot get things done. We believe we can get things done every single day, and every single senator in the Senate Republican caucus looks to advance the efforts of the people in their district on a daily basis at the Capitol. And part of that is working across the aisle to come to negotiations, to come to deals, and advance efforts for the people in their district.
We don't have a lot of time, sir, but I do want to ask you, the governor has been firm about his support of President Biden in this election year. Where do you stand with the likely nominee for the Republicans, former President Trump?
I certainly plan to support the Republican nominee, whoever that may be. I believe that President Biden's leadership has certainly been lacking in this country. But again, we're focusing on the state issues, and that's what ultimately this election season is going to be about for House members and for Senate members as we move into November of 2024.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time this morning, and good luck in your new role.
Thank you very much.
Take care.